But the thing that got my attention, it was one line in her bio, in her LinkedIn bio. The honest version of what built my business, a delusional belief in myself, pure hustle, and showing up consistently before anyone was watching. So not a framework, not a content strategy, not a morning routine, just a delusional belief in oneself.
It felt terrible. Terrible, debilitating, crushing, any colorful adjective you want to put. That is truly one of the toughest feelings, is putting yourself out there, working hard, going, walking into the direction of your dreams and goals, and nothing is working and it's not working out. I have been there more times than I can count, sadly. Here's the thing, it's like I have children. If I walk away from being a parent and can teach my kids one thing only, I would teach them confidence. Confidence is everything. And then if you can match confidence with consistency, you can't lose. You can't lose with those two things, right? It's dangerous. So many people lack confidence. It's astounding. And it's sad.
Hey everyone, this is Said with Messy Growth. There's a certain type of person on the internet who talks about building a personal brand, and then there's a person who's actually done it. Built the business, got the clients, made the money, and then figured out how to teach other people to do the same exact thing without 10 years of trial and error in between. My guest today is Anjanette Carter. She built a 7-figure copywriting and ghostwriting business before personal branding became the buzzword industry is all about today. She's got a best-selling Substack newsletter. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, a growing LinkedIn following, and a job board called the Breadboard. We're going to talk about that as well. Which pretty much does everything or something along the lines of radical and kind of like this freelance writing world. It only lists gigs that actually pay, which is pretty interesting. But the thing that got my attention wasn't any of that. It was one line in her bio, in her LinkedIn bio. The honest version of what built my business, a delusional belief in myself, pure hustle, and showing up consistently before anyone was watching. So not a framework, not a content strategy, not a morning routine, just a delusional belief in oneself. So I have a lot of questions about that, starting with where the line is between delusional and just wrong, because a lot of people believe in themselves before anyone else does, and it doesn't really end well. Anjeanette, welcome to the show.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Syed. Yes, it doesn't always end well, for myself included.
There you go. But I think fun is in the trying, right? You'll never really know until you actually go ahead and try it, which is what prevents people, is that, hey, I wish I could know all of the steps right away. But where's the fun in that? Because if everybody can do it, then there really isn't a reward at the end of the day, right? Like that you feel after all that hard work you put in.
That's true. It's very, very true.
Yeah. I want to take it to the questions. So going through your profile, a lot of interesting stuff came up. You have described building your business on a delusional belief in yourself, like we talked about in the intro. So the question is, where is the line between delusion and just being wrong? Because a lot of people are delusional about their own abilities. They inflate the fact that they can do certain things, but it doesn't really end well for them. What made yours different?
I love this question because it's so hard to answer, but you're absolutely right. So here's what I think. I think we all kind of start with a bit of a delusional belief in ourselves. We all start with, like, you see someone doing something and you go, oh, I can do that. I think I can do that. And so then there's a smaller percentage of people that actually try to do the thing. And there's an even smaller percentage of people, a minuscule amount, who actually end up doing the thing they said they were going to do, right? So I have found myself in both camps. I always try to do the thing, but I have failed many times. And, I think you need that delusion, because if you don't have it, you're just never going to start, right? You have to think you can be successful at something. Because if you don't, you'll literally never do the first step, because you'll be like, well, why should I do it? It's not going to work. So I always have this like weird thing in my head that's like, I can do that. Oh, they're doing it. I can do it better. I can totally do it. So then I try to do the thing. And most of the time that I have done that, I have failed. And it's really when you're at that point where you're in that delusion of like, I can do it. It's not going my way. Can I do it? Should I keep doing it? You said you asked, well, when is it wrong? That's the hardest part, because when you're trying something and you're doing an endeavor, what does everybody tell you? They say, oh, well, if you don't get out of line, your turn will come. Oh, if you just keep, if you never give up hope, and you'll get to your destination. Well, sadly, I used to believe that until I, stuck my feet out in the real world. And sadly, that's just not the case. There are times when you work and you just fail. I was an actor for many years as a teenager, my early 20s, and I held on to hope for so long. And I feel like hope is a 4-letter word. And we don't treat it as that. We treat it as like, no, you gotta have hope. You gotta have hope. And I do believe you do, but there is a part where delusion meets reality. And I think you have to ask yourself, and it's different for every scenario and every person, but you have to get to a point where you say, hey, I've been doing this thing X amount of years or X amount of time, and it's not working. Is this a hobby? Is this a business? And everyone's answer is different. Some people, they don't need to make a lot of money, or they don't have a ticking clock. But if you do, and you're looking to be successful, I think you need to put first some kind of measurable outcome versus just, oh, wouldn't it be great if X, Y, Z? I think if you can attach a measurable outcome, and then a certain amount of time passes where you just can't reach it, you have to be honest with yourself and say, okay, it's time to do something else.
Hmm.
Is that an
You're
answer?
really
Is that a
Yeah, that's a fantastic one. I
because
guess
here's
what I'm hearing.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. I have to say, because here's what I've learned, and I only learned this recently, actually. But, builders are they don't just build one thing, and so if you're a builder, you're going
It's
to
in your
keep building.
DNA.
Whereas I used to tell myself, and I don't know if anyone listening has done this, where you say, no, I'm this, and you attach your identity to this one thing that you think you can do. But by doing that, you're closing out so many different avenues. And so what you really have to ask yourself is, what is the end result that I'm really going for? Is it a dollar amount? Is it a state of mind? Is it a calm nervous system? What are you
Yeah.
actually reaching for? And there's many
Yeah.
different avenues to get there.
I think like what you're describing is, in a lot of ways, is you got to start to find out whether or not you're good at this. It's something that's it's giving you energy, you're having fun, because then you start to describe whether or not it's a hobby. Like you said, can you make this into your career professionally? Can you do it? Can you earn money out of it? It reminds me of a story, which is in our household. We always carry $100. It's a 911 $100 with us on a trip. So essentially the premise is this is money you put in your socks. So worst come worst, $100 can get you out of a bad situation in most of the countries in the world. So either you come back with $100 from the trip, or you come back with a story of where it went. But you're not going to have that story if you don't carry that with you for the most part. So do it for the story. If not, do it for the fun.
And now I know if we ever travel together, Sid, I know where you keep that 100. Remember that answer?
Feel free to rob me. This is pretty interesting stuff. Your story is pretty fascinating, so I want to dig deeper into it for the most part, because you said something interesting. Most people who say they believed in themselves before anyone else did are telling a story after it has worked, some sort of a survivorship bias, so to speak. A lot of people cling on to that. Like if you look on YouTube, people are like, everybody can do that. Anybody can do this if you put hard work into it. What did that belief actually feel like when nothing was happening yet and there was no evidence? And I'm sure there was some time there was no evidence it was going to.
It felt terrible. Terrible, debilitating, crushing, any colorful adjective you want to put. That is truly one of the toughest feelings, is putting yourself out there, working hard, going, walking into the direction of your dreams and goals, and nothing is working and it's not working out. I have been there more times than I can count, sadly. And for me, like I said, I keep having this delusional belief of like, oh, I can do that. And in the times and the moments where I doubt myself, truthfully, the only thing that keeps me going, and I don't know if I'm selling myself short or it's just, I don't know, I haven't really had a job, like working for someone. Probably only worked for like 1 or 2 people my whole life, honestly. So I don't have like a resume. I literally don't even have a resume. If you're like, Anjanette, shoot over your resume. I don't have a resume. So I have this belief, while I have this delusional belief that I can do anything, I have a secondary belief that no one is ever going to hire me for a regular job. So in the moments where I'm doubting myself and I go, oh, like, and this isn't working, I always feel like I don't have the safety net of going back to just a regular 9 to 5 because I really never had one. And
Yeah.
so I have to, so when it doesn't work, I have to say, well, if this doesn't work, you got to figure out something that does, because A, either no one's going to hire you because you don't even have a resume, or B, even if you could find a job, it's never going to pay you the amount that you're going to be able to pay yourself by creating something on your own. So that belief is what carries me through the doubts, because I've convinced myself there's no other path than the
Yeah.
path
Yeah.
that I've forged for myself. True or not, it keeps me, at least self-employed by myself. I never
Yeah.
want a boss. So
Yeah. You're mimicking something that an earlier guest told me. It was interesting is that I have made myself unemployed, not because I wouldn't be
yes.
able to get a job. I'm pretty sure if you go out there, you'll get a gig,
Mhm.
but you just will not enjoy after it's like after you've experienced a Bugatti, it's harder to go back to a Ford because
Well, like,
it's a different thing.
no. Well, like, I never understood, like, imagine having to ask another human being if you could go to the dentist. Or like things like we just have to do in our lives, like by like,
Yeah, yeah.
can I not come into work, or I need to take up a few hours because I have to go to the dentist. Is that okay? Is that okay? Like you have oral hygiene to take care of. It's your responsibility. Like
Yeah.
like I can't believe we're like, can I go to Disneyland for the day? I want to go to Disneyland. Wait, I have to ask another person permission. Like that
Nah.
concept was always just so wildly like mind blowing to me. And also I grew up with, my father is an entrepreneur and was a lifelong entrepreneur since he was like 14 basically. So he never worked for anyone, but he always would come home with stories of people who worked for him. And those tales kind of taught me like, oh, I'm smart enough. Like I can be my own boss. Like I'm smarter than these people he's talking about. Meanwhile, I was like 12 and like I surely was not smarter than that. But in my head, I thought with my 12-year-old self, I thought I was. So I just think that, uh, forging your own path. It's like once you've decided to do it, you can't really go back.
Yeah. I think there's somebody very interesting. I was reading this on Reddit is that the biggest shackle that you have in your life is a paycheck or a safety of a paycheck because it keeps you kind of like in the same place. And there's no offense to folks that are doing jobs. Of course, not everybody's cup of tea to be an entrepreneur. It's a
Right.
it's a it's the
Hard
pay
is
in and of
choose your
itself.
hard.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like choose your hard. But let me tell you, I live in a very affluent area, and I cannot tell you how many friends' husbands I have that literally like don't even see their kids, or like they have engineered careers where they are literal slaves to their careers. And if they don't put in like 70, 80 hours a week, it's like, the lifestyle collapses. They can't go get a lesser job, because then they have a mortgage, they have kids, they have all the lifestyle tax to pay. And
Yeah.
that is the most dangerous place to be when you're earning so much money,
Wow.
but you're
And
trapped.
when you're living in a Beverly Hills mansion such as yourself, obviously
Whatever.
it's difficult.
I
But
am
for the rest of us,
I am not. That I can assure you of. But I, like I said, it's I know a lot of people, and what's so funny is, of the people that I know, the entrepreneurs are the most free. The people
mm,
with high salaried positions are the most, I don't want to say stressed, but are the most shackled. And here's the thing, being an entrepreneur and having a job and a career that relies on others, they're both hard. Like nothing is easy.
oh yeah, for
It's like
sure.
you got to choose your hard. Like life is hard almost no matter what, unless you're just super lucky or don't care about anything. And so it's like, I'd rather have my hard, at least at the end of the day, be, drumming up business for myself than doing some assignments that make other people rich, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, because I think like when you're employed by someone, there's no such thing as a job that is stable. By the way, you can be let go.
I
AI,
feel like,
money. You know.
yeah, I feel like this is the first time I'm hearing
Mm,
hearing people say that, which is crazy. I have been saying this my entire life. And I feel like right now, the moment we're having with all these mass layoffs, the tech layoffs, all the mass layoffs, AI, all of that, I feel like it is the first time the career employed person is finally like, oh, maybe this whole job thing isn't so stable, which
Yeah.
I always thought that from day one. Like, hello, you're getting a mortgage, you're buying a home, you're doing all these things tied to this one person who has the power to just boop, turn off the lights at any moment. And it's honestly blown my mind that we've built like an entire economy and generations of people built on this concept. And I feel like that foundation is finally cracking over the last like year or
Yeah,
two.
that construct is broken. Like that
It is
social contract is
broken.
not there anymore. Yeah.
And I feel like now it's like if you've ever been flirting with the idea of being your own boss or being an entrepreneur, now is the time because finally the blinders are off. The career and in that
Yeah.
one job is not necessarily going to always save you.
Yeah. It's interesting because like now you have more tools at your disposal than ever before.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I was trying to create a website for my channel. It took me about 10 minutes with Cloud Code to generate a fairly decent looking website.
Crazy.
It doesn't have to be perfect, but just enough to be able to showcase stuff.
Right.
When was the last time you were able to do that in any point in our history?
I
Isn't that
know. I
bizarre?
know. Everyone, you are always reliant on other things. And also, this brings me to like another point is,
Hmm.
I'm in marketing, right? Copywriting, writing, ads, all those things. I'm in marketing. And marketers were always so good at one thing, marketing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Sure.
but they
Yeah.
didn't have the product. They couldn't build the code.
Right.
Now, I feel like the future really belongs to the marketers right now because
Mm.
as marketing is the hard thing. Distribution is hard. Making the thing is now easy, where it used to be making the thing was hard. And then marketing and okay, well, if you know how to market, you can market. But now, I feel like the dynamic is shifting and it's something that I'm personally really excited about.
Yeah. Talk to me about your Substack. I also kind of want to, it's my feeling, and please push back if you will, that Substack has created this idea that every writer is just one great newsletter away from financial independence. Is that true, or is it just survivorship bias talking? And then, of course, I want to learn a little bit more about your journey with Substack as well. I know it's just a
In-
medium, it's you.
Right. But in my dreams, where all writers are one newsletter away from, untold riches. No. But I do say I love Substack. I have to say, I think it might be my favorite platform ever. Been on a lot of them. Substack is amazing because not only do you get to write, and express yourself in whatever niche genre, that may be, but you get to keep it's the one platform that doesn't prevent you from owning your list. It's the one platform that's not like, oh, you can't take the users with you. Sorry. Every platform is such a walled garden where you can't take the users with you. With Substack,
Yeah.
you have as long as you export it out of Substack, you have your
Yeah.
you own your users, you own the email addresses, and Substack really leans in to being so creator friendly and so writer friendly. And I've never experienced that on a platform ever. And it's so refreshing. And I feel like, oh, I can take a deep breath on a platform like Substack because I feel like they're not just going to yank it away from me like a YouTube or and any other platform can just yank it from you at any moment. But yeah, so my Substack journny, again, that delusional belief, I saw you could become a Substack bestseller. I saw like a YouTube video like a year or two ago, someone being like, make a 6-figure newsletter. And I was like, I can do that. Again, no proof I can do that, but it's like, I can do that. I want to do that. That sounds perfect. So I was like, I'm going to do it. So about a year ago, I started my Substack journey. It took me a little bit to kind of feel my way. A lot of my audience came from LinkedIn. And, I really, share my journey of going from a freelancer to owning an agency, basically how to land clients. That's always been like the bottleneck is, for most people know the craft or they know how to do their thing, but they don't know how to make money off of it. So I like to share my tips and how I've done that. But really, on a deeper layer, is I really just tried to be kind of like that like guiding light for someone, which sounds like so
Yeah.
cheap, but that light for someone who's like, who wants to put their business and their financial future in their own hands. And they just need a little more help of how to do it. I don't have any course of like, here's how to create financial independence. I don't do anything like that. But I just show them through my experience and what I've done, here's how I've been able to make a living on my own. You can be your own boss. You don't necessarily need a job. But if you want a job, you want opportunities, then, you need to go ahead and get out there. And that's what I teach. And that's why I also started sharing a job board called the Breadboard.
You know, similar to the talk and the journey of Substack, I kind of feel like folks talk about visibility a lot. They're saying, hey, only 1% of the people on LinkedIn are posting. Everybody should post. They should create content. They should be visible. People are passive scrollers, so they might look at you and they might be curious as what do you do? And a lot of folks in that think that they're just one viral post away from changing their entire career trajectory. Do you think that's true, or do we massively overestimate the fact, the power of visibility, so to speak?
I think here's the thing. Anyone could go viral, right? Anyone could go viral. You could go viral at any time. Virality doesn't have to be the goal, and most times shouldn't be the goal, because here's the thing about virality. It's short term. You have a hot week. It's amazing. You get a bunch of followers, you get a bunch of attention on yourself or your product or your service. And then the cycle's over and then it's gone. So then it's about, well, how do I keep their attention? So I think, when you post with the goal of going viral, it's, you're chasing the wrong thing, because what you're really chasing, what you really want is, of course, visibility. Because look, and people think, oh, well, virality, equals visibility. It does, but only for a very limited amount of time. You want to be that kind of like slow and steady. It's like you always have to be winning the race. Like, for example, like I used to have a YouTube channel separate from myself years ago, and I uploaded, oh my God, like 100 videos every day in a row before I got any traction, and it's like when I was on video 60, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to do like 40 more videos before it's like, I didn't know when it was going to start hitting, but I never went viral. I did eventually start making, had videos go viral, but it's the consistency that gets you the wins. Virality is great, but consistency is key to literally anything in life. But success and online visibility, it's all about consistency versus trying to catch, a falling knife of virality.
Mm-hmm. Your opening line is your content should be making you way more money than it is. What's the common reason it isn't?
I think people forget is it, well, and it depends. Content is like a loaded gun, right? Let's say
Sure.
we're talking about LinkedIn specifically. People are on LinkedIn to do business, right? So if you're posting content on LinkedIn, the goal of your content is likely to make more money, right? So why isn't your content making you more money on LinkedIn? Probably because you're not speaking to the pain points of your audience. You're also, a lot of people, like let's say, you have a thing you want to do, or you need more clients, you want something. Sometimes just saying, hey, everyone, I'm open for speaking gigs. If you know someone, shoot them my way. I want more speaking gigs. Sometimes it's as easy as just saying that, and it's like, oh, sometimes you just have to tell people what you want. Sometimes it's that simple. But other times, you can't build a content library of saying, hey, hire me. But you have to continue, if only, right? That'd be the easiest content strategy ever. But you need to be, showing, positioning yourself in as an authority. You want to be that person that someone knows, likes, and trusts. And you do that by demonstrating your authority, sharing not just your wins, but your fails. And also by, tapping into that pain point. Content is a point of connection. The repurpose to post content is to connect with someone. And so if your content doesn't connect or make someone feel something on any level, it's not going to make you $1.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of folks, they're also going after this, I want to be viral, I want to get a lot of likes and everything. But if those likes and views are coming from folks that are not in your target group or what you're trying to sell or you're going to make money, you're never going to do that. If it's like
Right.
10-year-olds, but it's not going to go. But if it's business owners, only you need just one or two or three to be able
Exactly.
to go ahead and convert that, right?
Wait, and that's also why chasing the viral moments is not always the
Sure.
thing
I
because
mean, it's fun. It's a great
fun.
exercise in
I love
hubris.
going viral. Like
Yeah, yeah.
and yes, do I have a little extra pep on my step on a day I go viral or a client of mine goes viral? Absolutely. It's just plain fun, right?
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
doesn't always pay the bills because when you go viral, the
Mm.
goal is, of course, you're hitting your target demo, but with just the sense of what virality is, because it's such a wide
Yeah.
net, you're also getting a ton of people through the door that will never buy from you, are not your target demo. They just liked this one little thing, so they're going to follow you because they just like this one thing, and maybe the rest of your content, is not going to be based around that one thing, and so on and so
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. There's a version of content strategy that builds a huge audience and makes no money. There's another version that makes real money with a small audience. Which one do most of your clients actually need, and which one do they think they actually need?
So it's really interesting. So obviously, if you're on LinkedIn, you want to make money for your business. Some people, so many people equate followers with success, but that is not the case.
Yeah.
That is definitely not the case. You can buy followers, from some crazy content farm somewhere, and it's not going to do anything for you. And we'll all know because your post gets like 3 likes. So, we're all going to know we have like 1 million followers. It's, I always say to people, especially like people that follow my Substack, other writers, other solopreneurs that follow my Substack, I say, look, you don't need to go viral. You don't need a huge audience. You only need like 10 people that are, that are in your demographic. And you just need to convert like one of them. If you can convert like 1 in 10 people that come to you, or you just need a little small bucket of people who can actually pay you, and then you have a business. You don't need hundreds of followers. You don't need thousands of followers. You can have, 100 followers. And if 3 of those people, can be $5,000 a month clients or something like that, that's all you need. But the purpose of still, I would encourage that person. Let's say you only need a few clients to make a living. Because you don't know when they're coming from, where you're coming from, you still want to be visible because you want to always be showing up because no one can hire you if they don't know you exist. And just sending a resume through an AI portal, is not visibility, right? So
Yeah.
you need to be visible. But again, the great news is you don't need to be visible to the world. You only need to be visible to your niche. Not everyone wants attention, and that's fine. If you want attention, chase virality. If you just want to make a living and be regarded as an expert in your niche, then post content that gets that job done and don't look at your followers.
Yeah. So we've talked about your business. You've built a ghostwriting business, a newsletter,
Mhm.
a job board, and a personal brand simultaneously. At what point does building multiple things become a content problem rather than a content solution?
What's so funny is I just wrote a newsletter about that today, where I literally say, I haven't released it yet, or maybe I did. Yeah, I did. I think I released it, where I go, why do I think I can do it all? Why do I keep thinking I keep adding things to my plate? I want it, like
Yeah.
I literally announced recently on my LinkedIn, I want to do public speaking. Sure, just add that to, running a business, trying to do brand deals, doing podcasts, doing, pitching clients, trying to do a CPG brand. I'm like, am I a crazy person? I think what it comes down to when it comes to content and all those spinning plates, because I don't just have one, I envy the people that just have one thing, like they talk about one thing only, like the stock market. They're the stock market person. They talk to you about it. They can talk to you about it all day long. They can put all their chips in the stock market. That's their brand. I do a few different things. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a newsletter. I'm an agency. I want to do speaking, all these things. How do I do it all? How can I produce content that covers all that? I think what it comes down to is you need to be authentic and make sure you're posting content and doing things and pursuing goals that are all aligned with either your values, your beliefs, or your goals. And when you have alignment, they all start working together. Like I have an agency, that's what pays my bills, right? And from that agency, I've learned how to do so many things. I've learned how to make a living. I've learned how to do all these things on my own. So that then feeds my newsletter. And that feeds, the people I mentor and that I do coaching for. And then when you lay in, like I've just started announcing, I haven't even announced what it is yet, but I'm going to be the chief marketing officer of a CPG brand that I'm a co-founder of. And I'm doing but okay, well, what does that have to do with anything else I just mentioned? Well, I'm going to take my marketing skills and I'm going to see, do marketers really have the future that I just claimed they do? I'm going to do a real-time case study of, let's use these marketing skills that I've used to build my agency, that I teach other people. Can I use it to build a product of my own? Let's see. But all of those things have one common thread, which is I want to be my own boss and make my own money.
Yeah. That's an awesome thing. I want to talk about your business. You work with entrepreneurs, freelancers, solopreneurs. Which one of these three groups would you say is the most delusional about what their content is actually doing for them?
Oh, founders, 100%.
Founders.
100%. But you know what? I get it. Like, it's not a fault. It's like, I work with a lot of high level founders and CEOs. And here's the thing. You have to be a little crazy to start a company. You just have to. You have to be a little crazy. Because here are your options in life. Get a job where you show up to a couple interviews, then someone starts immediately paying you the first day you show up. Or option B, you start your own thing where you have no idea if you'll ever make money. You certainly won't make money for at least a couple months. Like that best case scenario. And you have to figure out every single thing all by yourself. The crazy person, you need to be slightly crazy to pick number two. I am definitely fall into that camp. And so all the founders I speak to, because they're slightly crazy just like me, they're like, oh, I want to do this with my content. I want to do that. Or oh, this is all I need to do. And a lot of times they're wrong, but sometimes they're right too. But what I love about it is they want to play the game. Whether they're right or wrong, they're taking the step of wanting to put themselves out there. I'm just there to help them kind of massage the way that they do that. But just by taking that step, that's what separates, so to speak, the men from the boys.
To seven figures. Mm-hmm. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say to tap into an old misogynistic phrase, but that it is. It's what separates people is, the willingness to just be like, I'm going for it. The leaping before you look, I'm going to do the crazy thing.
It's interesting because you said something very interesting in the beginning. If you don't have this belief in yourself, how the hell somebody else is going to believe in you?
Right. Here's the thing. It's like I have children. And if I can if I walk away from being a parent and can teach my kids one thing only, I would teach them confidence. Confidence is everything. And then if you can match confidence with consistency, you can't lose. You can't lose with those two things. That's a dangerous combination. Yeah. Right? It's dangerous. So many people lack confidence. It's astounding. And it's sad. Because it's like, if you don't, it's like, you got to believe in yourself. You got to be your own best friend. I don't know if it's because I grew up as an only child, so I didn't have a lot of people around me. I grew up in a quiet home, with just myself and my parents, where, I had to believe in myself. And my parents, believed in me, and that helped me, believe in myself. And especially if you didn't have that growing up. You have to be that person that shows up for yourself and believes in yourself. Because here's the thing, if you don't believe in yourself, how are you even going to get a job? When you're competing in this global economy against like 400 other people, you have to believe in yourself. And if you don't, you got to start small and baby steps. What do you know you can do? Oh, well, I know I'm a good parent, or I know I can cook, or I know I could, you got to start slowly building that foundation. And so you think you're like the baddest, like MFer out there.
No, I like that. Baddest MFer out there.
Because you got to be. Because if you don't think you're that, then you're not going to do anything.
Yeah. And it's not about faking confidence or anything like that. I think like if you're faking confidence, you'll need more time to kind of like come back home and to try to reboost that whole thing. I mean, it's draining for the most. Or you have to sit down and say, hey, this is what I'm good at. And there's a lot of other good people out there, but this is my place on earth, and that's what I can do, and this is what I can do well, and I believe in myself. And you keep telling yourself that path usually, I think, makes it gets clearer by itself.
Agreed. And if you can't do that for yourself, because sometimes people have a really hard time of believing in themselves or really going, okay, well, maybe I'm good at this, but so are a million other people or da da da. What would your friends say about you? Because friends would be, I guarantee a friend of yours will be so much kinder to yourself than you will be. And if you just think, okay, well, if I told my friend my deepest, darkest fears about myself, which is that I'm not good enough, what would someone else say
They
about
would
me?
laugh. Yeah, they was like, dude, are you insane? Look
They'd
at you.
say, you're this, you're that. I love you because of this, you're that. So if you can't trust yourself to build you up, think about how would a friend describe you? And you'll have probably a much better, clearer picture.
Yeah, perfectly put. So I want to ask you one last thing before we head into our rapid fire round.
Ooh.
7 figures, best-selling newsletter, growing LinkedIn following, job board, agency. What hasn't happened yet that you actually want?
What hasn't happened? Retirement, Cyan. That's what hasn't. That's why we're talking right now.
Hey, retirement is easy.
Okay, everyone listening, I'm gonna tell you a cute little story. When I met Syed, I was trying to give him some tips about monetizing this very channel you're watching because I used to have a YouTube channel with 250,000 followers until it got demonetized. And I'm thinking like I'm being such a good person by like telling him all this insight. And in response, he goes, "Oh, I'm not doing this for money." Like I didn't. It took me a second because I forgot that's a thing. I forgot you can do things not for money. That's where I'm at in
Yeah.
my life. But and then he goes, "Oh, I'm never going to do anything for money again." That's what you said. And as
Yeah.
you can see, it stuck with me. I love that. That is the point that I'm trying to get to is retirement. That's what I always say. What's that number? My God, it keeps changing. Maybe I'll move the goalpost forever. But for me, the ultimate goal is freedom. And freedom to me means being able to do what I want, whenever I want, with whomever I want. I have a lot of that, but I don't have it at the level that where I can back away just yet. So until then, I keep building. And maybe after then, I'll keep building, right? Because builders keep building. Look at you. You're building this whole podcast, not even for money. You're doing it 'cause you help people and you like talking to founders. So here we are.
Yeah.
So, maybe I'll build
Like you said,
80 years old.
like you said, builders are crazy, right? So we got a little bit of that crazy DNA for the most part. But if I had money to bet on anybody, I would bet on you. I think that you have the level of confidence, and you can climb mountains with that. And I think that's the most important thing is having a little bit of belief in yourself that you can do it. Things usually fall in place after that. Might suck a little bit, but it gets better.
Heavy on the suck, everybody. Like it will be heavy on the suck. So don't forget that part. But yes.
It's not going to be rewarding if it's not going to suck.
Forever. Yeah. The suck won't last forever. Make
There
that
you
one
go.
your sound bites. The suck won't last forever.
Suck won't last forever. I'm writing it down. All right. So rapid fire round, very quick questions, very quick answers. Best advice you've ever received, business or personal?
Oh God. That's such a short answer. Okay. Best advice. Well, my father always said when it comes to money, it's always going to be, it's either going to go in your pocket or somebody else's. So it might as well be your pocket.
That's awesome. There's
Right?
so many ways you can slice and dice that. That's pretty good.
Right.
Awesome. Advice you ignored or wish you had listened to.
That you don't just have to be one thing. I try to box myself in for too long. You can be many things all at once.
That's
And
amazing.
I thought to succeed, I thought I had to identify as one thing only.
Yeah. What would you tell your younger self, say, 7 to 10 years ago?
She wasn't that young. And here's the other thing. I would say build your personal brand yesterday. That's one of my biggest business regrets, is not building my personal brand sooner.
Is there an ongoing challenge in your current work that keeps you up at night?
Yeah. Will it last? How long do I have on this ride?
It's not going to last forever, but you enjoy it while it lasts, right? At the end of the day. That's awesome. Your favorite restaurant, meal, or spot?
Ooh, I love this one. You know what? There's so many good answers to this, but I love a good lobster roll. From anywhere that doesn't suck, right?
Well, not from Red Lobster.
Correct.
Cool. That's awesome. I'm going to write that down. One tool that you swear by and cannot live without.
These days, I have to say Claude. Claude's my coworker.
pretty awesome.
It has been for the last couple of years. So at this point in time, it's Claude.
Not GPT?
Mm-mm.
Early?
Yeah, Claude, because again, I do a lot of writing. So for me, writing, Claude.
Yeah, it's pretty darn good. It also can mimic a lot of your voice, and if you're out of inspiration, it can really add that flavor. This is fantastic stuff. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on. Where can listeners find you?
Substack, LinkedIn, Anjanette Carter. My name is not hard to find. You're not going to find 500 other Anjanette Carters. So I'm sure he's going to link my Substack or my LinkedIn below. And that's where you can find me. You know, my DMs are always open to anyone who has questions. And I'd love for you to join me on this crazy ride of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. Any upcoming project, launch, talk, event that you're excited about?
Yes, as I hinted at, I am going to be launching a CPG product soon. I know what it is, but I haven't yet announced it. So I am talking about it on my Substack though. So please stay tuned for that.
Nice. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on. It was fun talking to you. Made a lot of notes, things that I can actually apply in my life as well. So this is amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Syed. Such a pleasure. I'll come back anytime.
Absolutely. Folks, you heard it here. If you got value out of this, share with someone who's still here. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.